Hey there, hiker friends. Welcome to Hike Life. I'm Matt O, and today we're going to talk about how to be nice to your feet. I'm in my backyard filming, and one of the neighbors is running a chainsaw, so if you hear some buzzing in the background, just try to ignore that. I can't control that, so anyway, I hope it doesn't bother you too much. So, the best way to have a good time on your hiking trip, or one of the best ways to have a good time on your hike, is to make sure that you're nice to your feet. And you really need to think about your feet as going on a hot date. So let's say you've got a hot date planned and you're like, man, I really want this date to go well. I hope everything goes great. There's my dog chasing birds in the background. You're on this hot date and you're like, I hope this goes well. Well, if you treat your hot date really nice, you treat your hot date well, things are going to go good, right? If you treat your hot date poorly, things aren't going to go so great. So think of your feet as a real hot date and things will go better. Two best ways to treat your feet right to make sure your hot date goes well. Two best ways to make sure your hike goes well is to make sure you have good shoes and good socks. Those are the two keys I've found to making sure that my hike goes well. Because you're going to be on your feet the whole time, and your feet are probably almost the most important, if not the most important part of your hike. So treating your feet well is going to be very important to making sure you have a good time and the date ends well. Shoes. Let's start off with shoes. Now, if you're first getting into hiking and you're just kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to spend a lot of money, I'm not real sure about this sport, then just go with a pair of shoes that you have. Don't spend a lot of money. Just make sure they're broke in and they have good grips on the bottom. Good pair of tennis shoes with decent grips and well broke in will do you just fine. And if you're going to buy a brand new pair of shoes, make sure you have broken them in well also. Let's say you have decided you're going to commit to this hiking thing and you're like, I'm going to go out and get myself a real good pair of good hiking shoes because I know I love this sport and I'm just going to be doing it for a while and I want to buy a good pair of shoes. Break them in. Don't go hiking in a brand new pair of shoes. You will get blisters, you will get sore feet, you will get all sorts of aches and pains, and things are not going to end well. That's how you treat your date poorly, is by using brand new shoes and not breaking them in. Break in your shoes, folks. There's lots and lots of different kinds of hiking shoes out there that are built for hiking, and there's so many different brands. There's Ultras, there's Solomons, there's Keens, there's Obos. I could go on and on naming different kinds of brands. Don't just go picking the first pair you find. Go out, try several pairs on, walk around in them, make sure they're comfortable. Just like you would do in a regular pair of shoes. I spent several hours trying on probably close to a dozen different types of shoes before I found the kind of shoe that I thought was going to work well. And the shoe that I got, I'm going to take it off here and show you. The brand that I got that I really like and has been doing well for me, I got this pair like 2 years ago. It's lasted me at least 2 seasons. Is this pair of Obos. I really like these shoes. Now some people aren't going to like them. Some people are going to be better off with a different pair of shoe. And that's okay. The key is you find the shoe that fits you. I personally will wear a shoe that is not waterproof, and I like a low top. I like a low top because it's lighter, and I found that I didn't need the ankle support that I thought I needed when I first started. I realized, you know what, the low tops work just fine. They're a little bit lighter, they're easier to walk in, and I'd go with non-waterproof shoes because my feet tend to sweat a lot, and if I have a waterproof shoe on, I'm going to get wet feet anyway, and then the water just stays inside. So I go with shoes that are going to breathe well and dry out fast. And this pair of Obos, you can see, has got a lot of circulation here, does just that for me. I actually hiked in about 17 miles in about 4 inches of snow with this pair of shoes on last fall, and my feet didn't get cold. They were soaking wet, but they didn't get cold. Partly because I had the right pair of socks also, which we'll get into in just a minute. So make sure you get a good pair of shoes that fit you properly and that you've broken in before you hit the trail. Wear them around for a week. Break them in. Make sure those things move the way your feet move and all the creases have developed, and that way you're not just struggling with blisters and spots that have rubbed raw and stuff like that. Alright, enough for shoes for a little while. Now let's talk about socks. So socks are also really important. Now, if you've watched this show for a little while, you probably realize I like to spend very little money. I'm kind of a cheap guy. And my go-to socks used to be the pairs at Walmart, the cotton pairs. You get like 12 pairs for $6 at Walmart. And that's what I used to wear all the time because they were cheap. But then I started watching these videos on people who are hiking and wearing nicer socks. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just try one pair of socks and see how it goes. So, got a good pair of merino wool socks. And I about had a heart attack because I was spending $20 on one pair of socks when I was used to spending $6 on like a dozen pairs. About killed me to buy that first pair of socks. But I tell you what, I have never gone back. I now have probably 8 pairs of wool socks, and I only wear these nice merino wool socks. I wear them hiking, I wear them at work, I wear them for everyday use. I have not gone back to those cotton socks. I also used to wear just like a poly blend sock, like a sports sock. Oh man, those things made my feet stink so bad. Horrible things. They were cheap too, but man, it was embarrassing. You take your shoes off and it's like something dead just crawl out of my shoe. So I stopped wearing those, and I started wearing merino wool socks. You can probably hear my dog yapping in the background. The neighbor's got some donkeys and just drives her nuts. So try to ignore her and the chainsaw, and we'll get through this together, guys. So did a little research on socks, went to the store, and I decided on a pair of Darn Tough socks. These are Darn Tough brand. The reason I decided on Darn Tough is one, they are made in Vermont, so they're USA made, and they have about the same prices of every other sock that's available, real close, and they come in some pretty cool colors. You can get them in plain colors if you don't like the cool colors, but I kind of liked all the wild colors that come in. And then the other big seller for me on Darn Tough brand socks is that if you develop a little hole anywhere at any time, you can get a sock, have it for 12 years, and if it develops a hole, you send it in and they'll send you a brand new pair of socks for free. That's how proud they are of their product and how confident that it's going to last you a long time. So this pair is not brand new. I've had these for a little while. They're wearing really well. I do have a couple pairs of socks that are several years old, probably 2.5 years old. Still haven't worn a hole in them yet. They're getting a little threadbare in a couple spots, so I'm waiting to pop that first hole in and then send them in and get myself a brand new pair of socks. I want to see how that goes because I haven't had a chance to really try out that warranty thing, but I believe they're going to honor that because I have never heard of having a problem with Darn Tough honoring their warranty. Lots of different brands of socks out there. You can go with, I don't remember all the names, but like go into your local sporting goods shop that carries wool socks, and there'll be half a dozen different brands. Pick the ones you want. It doesn't really matter. Personally, I like the Darn Tough. I've never worn a different brand. These socks I really liked, and so I thought, why should I go try on another pair of socks if I found a pair I like? So that's just my story with socks. They keep your feet warm even when wet. Cotton won't do that. Neither will the poly blends. Your feet are going to be cold. Like I said, I hiked 17 miles in 4 inches of snow with soaking wet feet, and my feet didn't get cold because I was wearing the right pair of socks. They're great for, they're antimicrobial, so you can wear a pair of these on the trail for 2 to 3 days without them starting to stink. It's pretty amazing. I didn't believe it until I tested it out. I brought one pair of socks, I brought 2 pairs of socks with me over a couple of day hiking trip. One pair for sleeping in, the other pair for hiking in. Or the same pair of socks for 2 to 3 days hiking, they did not start to smell. I'm dead serious. So these are mostly wool with a little bit of like nylon to give them some stretch, and they don't itch. You hear wool and you think itchy. These don't itch. They some of these hiking socks brands make like totally synthetic material. I haven't tried those out, but I've heard that they have a little bit more tendency to smell, so I haven't even tried them. You know, if I find something that works, I just stick with it. And these Darn Tough socks, I stick with because I like them. So guys, I hope you learned a little bit about treating your feet right, about making your, choosing the right shoe, choosing the right sock, making sure your feet are comfortable throughout your trip, because if your feet get sore, if they get blisters, if they get hurt, you're just going to have a miserable time because you're on your feet the whole time. Treat them right. Treat them like a hot date, and you can't go wrong. Hope you enjoyed watching, guys. I hope you're able to get out there and start hiking. I hope you can get out and see something amazing. If you liked the video, give me a little thumbs up. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much. If you haven't, hit the little subscribe bell and hit the subscribe button. Hit this little bell, and you'll get a notification every time I put out a new video. Shoot me a couple comments. Tell me what socks you like. Tell me what kind of shoes you like and why. Do you wear waterproof? Do you not wear waterproof? I know some people that wear both kinds depending on the weather. I'd like to hear from you. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you later.